Yo, what is up? This is your boy Guru, and what do I have for you today? Today I have the poor man's Borsig. Let's review it. Subscribe if you are new here. Please turn on your notifications on, especially if you're here for the mod pack videos. Also, please give this video a like if you enjoyed the content and what this channel brings to you. If you took something from it, please remember to give me a like, and let me thank you in advance for it. Well, here we go. The RHM Borsig, this is a tank that I've always wanted in my live account, but I don't have it in my live account, so I play it whenever I'm in the test servers or when I have accounts like this, the hunt me down accounts, the accounts that I can fool around and mess around with. Why do you want this tank? Well, it's kind of like a meme tank, especially if you play it with the big short cannon with the 750 alpha damage gun. That is kind of like a meme gun. It's really fun when you cruise around with the mediums and heavy tanks and blast people in the face for 750 damage. It's an amazing gun, an amazing tank. It's really fun to play, but I'll be honest with you, if you want to be if you want to be competitive, I think a lot of players would agree, most of the competitive side of this tank comes from the top gun, the long gun, which does 490 damage and 246 penetration on its standard AP shells, and if you fire the premium shells, it's 311 penetration on the APCR shells, premium shells. This is not exactly how I normally play this tank, but on this map I feel that camping is the best option, sitting at the back and letting others do the work for you. This is after all a tier 10 game. This is not a moment or not a time when I should be aggressive. Now, whether I'm playing this tank with a shotgun or a long gun, I like playing out in the front. I like hanging out with the medium tanks or heavy tanks and play a support role, kind of like a support medium tank. Once the enemy's fired once, I can poke out, shoot, blast, and come back. And that's exactly how I normally roll with this tank. But in this kind of matchup, you want to sit back and chill and relax, save your HP for the end game, and that's exactly what I'm going to do. Now, if you compare this to the premium Skorpion G, which is the rich man's Skorpion G, I guess, it has the same amount of damage with the same kind of penetration. The gun looks different though. This is an extremely long gun, but the Skorpion G does 490 damage as well with 246 penetration on the AP shells, but on the premium shells it does the same thing, 311 penetration, just like this tank. But the reload time, this tank reloads in 9.29 seconds, and this is with everything loaded up. You know, I've got the rammers, the food, I've got the BIA crew. But if you're running the short 750 derp gun, it's 16 seconds reload time and 2.21 seconds aim time. This gun, however, takes 1.88 seconds of reload time, which is pretty good. Slightly worse than the Skorpion G, I guess. Skorpion G is 1.72 seconds, which is a lot better, and also Skorpion G's dispersion is 0.27, a lot better than this gun. This gun is a 0.31 dispersion, and the big derp gun is worse still, 0.36 dispersion. So that's why I say most of the competitive players, the players that want to get the most out of this tank. Now, as you can see, I have reversed into position here, which means I'm driving forward right now as I run away, and this is one of the tricks that you need to learn as if you're driving one of these slow tanks that reverse really slowly. You want to make sure that your front is pointed towards where you want to run away, so that you have a chance to run away, because you have no chance in hell of reversing away from your enemies. If you're going to reverse away, imagine reversing in 12 kilometers an hour. There's no way you're going to run away. So make sure you are pointing pointing towards where you want to run away towards if you're in a camping bush position. In a Skorpion G, you have 20 kilometers an hour reverse, which is a lot better than this reverse. That's why you pay the big bucks for the premium abilities, I guess you could say, because Skorpion G is just, I guess it's the most popular premium tank, or the most popular tank in general in this game. The Skorpion G, without a doubt, is one of the most alpha tanks in this game. It does really well, and it earns you credits at the same time. If you want to pump up your stats, if you want to pump up your credits, if you want to pump up anything, the Skorpion G is the tank for you. You can play it aggressively, you can play passively, you can be a hunter, you can be a bush camper. A lot of ways you can play the tank. I should have shot this tank sooner than I had. Instead of trying to take a shot at that FV4202, I could have been able to kill this tank a lot earlier and perhaps even save my teammate there in the STRV. But he's having trouble killing the STRV, so he had to take some time to kill him before he could focus any attention on me, which gave me the amount of time I needed to kill him off. So that's really good. Now let's talk about the view range. I've got binocular telescopes on this tank, which gives me 502 meters of view range, which is I think it's exactly the same as a Borsig, Skorpion G, if you had a Skorpion G on binocular telescopes as well. 502 is amazing if you're camping in the back in the bush, but if you're in a Skorpion G, like most competitive players in Skorpion Gs, they don't run binocular telescopes. They run the optics instead of the telescopes, which gives them 442 meters, which is pretty good. If you're running optics, if you're using your mobility to move around, a lot of people use the Skorpion for their mobility and their gun, which means they don't sit around like the Borsig. You know, the Borsig kind of like hangs back a little bit more because of its limited mobility. So a lot of people run the binocular telescopes on the Borsig just because of that reason, because they lack mobility. They're going to be stationary more often, so that's why they do it. I wanted to finish that guy off, but too bad. Instead, someone else finishes him off. I take a hit from a convoy. Is that a convoy in the middle of the map? So I know where one of them is. I know where the convoy is. So now I can plot to help my team out. See if I can shoot these guys if they pop up over the ridge and get themselves spotted. I'm trying to support this guy in the south if I can. If he spots anything, I want to be able to at least get one shot off, but he's just showing me just a slither of his turret there, so I couldn't actually take a shot, and I didn't want to waste my shell by snapshotting, so I just waited and waited and waited until I make sure that I have a good clear shot before I decide to pull the trigger. Now the Borsig, of course, 1100 health. The Skorpion G has 50 more HP than this tank, but DPM wise, this gun gives you 3163 DPM, a lot better than the derp gun, which only gives you 2783 DPM. Did I mention the dispersion 0.31 is pretty good, considering considering it is like a huge gun. 0.31 dispersion is kind of acceptable for this kind of gun, I think. It has no armor to speak of, so don't expect anything from the armor at all. The traverse is pretty slow compared to the Borsig. It traverses at 44 degrees per second, while the Borsig, the Skorpion G does 31 degrees per second. And yeah, terrain resistance as well, it's like 0.81. And yeah, I don't think it's like it's meant to have any kind of mobility, so you need to make sure that you are placing yourselves in the right kind of positions, in the positions that you're most likely to get damage. Now I wish this SDA would have played a more active role in helping out this team. I was kind of pissed off at him, to be honest with you. He's just sitting out here in the bush in the middle of nowhere. I want to take this position actually because again I want to help out the south side in case anything is spotted. So I'm just waiting here for any kind of tank to be spotted so that I can help out the southern side. I decide to push forward here. That's because you know, you also don't want to wait around while the team is pushing forward. Now if you notice on the west side, the team is pushing on to their base, so I want to make sure that I'm closing down the distance and helping out my team in case they spot anything. I want to make sure that I'll be able to shoot something and at least support my team. Now this is a tier 10 game, so I can't be super aggressive and be a superhero. The enemy tanks that I'm coming up against with, they can easily fuck me up. They can easily finish me off as well. So I need to, even though I do have a tier 10 kind of gun, because it's got high penetration and high alpha damage, I still can't be super aggressive because I'm up against tier 10 tanks. So I want to make sure that even though while you're supporting and helping the team, you also want to be making sure that you are making sure that you save your HP. You want to make sure that you survive to the end and make yourself as useful as possible without losing any HP. And just like that, we finish off the game and GG. So there you go, the poor man's Skorpion G. Hope you like that video. This was an ace tanker game for me. I did finish out on top in XP, I guess. Didn't earn any kind of credits because I was firing a lot of premium shells, especially when I'm bottom tier going up against tier 10 tanks. I'm gonna be aggressive with that APCR shells. Don't be shy with APCR shells. If you made it to the end, please give this video a like, and if you took something from this video, thanks for watching, and I will see you on the next one. Bye bye.